What's up, motherfucker?
Hold up, I hope y'all watching this shit. first round real quick.
Only the people that are in those training rooms with him know how good.
Because he just knocks dudes out real quick in the first round.
Yeah, but now we're gonna get a good. I might fuck with this guy. He just, to me, I thought he was a con artist. No, just based off his look.
They're edgy. Holy shit! What the hell just happened?
What's up, motherfucker? Welcome to tonight, 2022. We got a lot to talk about today. A lot of stuff popping off in the NFL. The Colts are trading Carson Wentz to the Washington Commanders. Of course, yesterday, Russell Wilson got traded to the Denver Broncos. Aaron Rodgers signed a contract extension with the Green Bay Packers to stay in Green Bay. Calvin Ridley gets suspended for a season. So we got a lot of different topics we'll talk about. If there's any other topics you guys would like to talk about, please throw those into the comment section. Before we get started, don't forget we're live 1 p.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday with Easy Money, a sports betting show. We're giving out winners. Come join us. That show's live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Then we're live Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern with G.S.R. Gonzo'S Sports Room. That show's also live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. You can find both those shows in podcast form on all major podcast platforms, Apple Podcasts, Anchor Podcasts, Spotify. Those places you listen to podcasts, you can find us. Also, we have a new pro wrestling podcast, GWR Gonzo'S Sports Room. That podcast new episode drops every Sunday, 9 a.m. Eastern. You can find it on all major podcast platforms, Apple Podcasts, Anchor Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts. About anywhere you listen to podcasts, you can find it. And also, if you would like to watch the video version of GWR Gonzo'S Wrestling Room, you can find that on YouTube at Gonzo'S Sports Room. Go check out our YouTube page at Gonzo'S Sports Room. We have a lot of content on there, whether you're a UFC fan, a football fan, basketball fan, baseball fan, pro wrestling fan. We have stuff on there for everybody. Go check it out. Please hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button. We greatly appreciate it. If you're watching on Facebook or Twitch, please hit the follow and like buttons. We greatly appreciate that as well. Check out our merch store, streamlabs.com/Gonzo'S Sports/merch. We have t-shirts, hats, hoodies, a lot of different things on there. Go check it out. Get you some gear today. We greatly appreciate that. All right, let's go ahead and jump right into tonight's show. So there's been a lot of stuff going on in the NFL. You got a bunch of the college basketball conference tournaments. Some of the bigger conference tournaments started today. The Big Ten started today. Big East, Pac-12. You got a lot of the conferences starting, getting ready for March Madness, which I think is going to be crazy this year because there's not that one team that just is dominating everybody. There's a lot more parity in college basketball right now. There's probably 7 or 8 teams that could get hot and make a run in the tournament and win the tournament. It's going to be a fun tournament to watch. I think this Sunday is probably when they announced the bracket. All right, before we get into the sports stories today, let's go over some scores for today in college basketball so far today. Syracuse defeated Florida State 96-57, and that was in the ACC tournament. In the Atlantic 10 tournament, number 12 LaSalle beat number 13 St. Joseph's 63-56. In the Mountain West tournament, number 8 Nevada beat number 9 New Mexico 79-72. Big Sky tournament, number 7 Portland State beat number 10 Idaho State 66-52. ACC tournament, number 13 Boston College beats number 5 Wake Forest 82-77. In the SWAC tournament, number 2 Texas Southern defeated number 7 Jackson State 54-50. In the Pac-12 tournament, number 9 Stanford defeated Arizona State 71-70. Atlantic 10 tournament, number 11 Rhode Island beat number 14 Duquesne 79-77. Then in the Mountain West tournament, you had number 7 Utah State over number 10 Air Force 83-56.
Big East tournament, number 9 Butler defeated number 8 Xavier 89-82. Big Sky tournament, number 9 Eastern Washington defeated number 11 Northern Arizona 78-75. In the Pac-12 tournament, number 5 Oregon defeated number 12 Oregon State 86-72. Southland tournament, HBU number 5 HBU defeated number 8 Incarnate Word 70-59. In the MAC tournament, number 1 Norfolk State is up 56-41 against number 8 Delaware State with 7 minutes left in the second half. In the SEC tournament, Missouri is up 63-52 over Mississippi with just under 4 minutes left in that game. In the Big Ten, number 13 Nebraska is up 60-57 over number 12 Northwestern with 7 minutes left in the second half. Rice is up 45-37 over Charlotte with 11 minutes and 22 seconds left. That's in the Conference USA tournament. In the ACC tournament, Virginia Tech is up 41-29 over Clemson with a minute and a half left in the first half. LA Tech 37, Marshall 32 at halftime. West Virginia 36, Kansas State 31, 1 minute before halftime. Vermont 39, Binghamton 27 at halftime. America East Conference, Heartland and UMBC are tied at 33 at halftime. Mountain West Tournament, Fresno State 29, San Jose State 26. That game's also at halftime. A lot of college games. Got a couple more going on right now. Colgate 8, Navy 7. 15 minutes left in the first half. DePaul 10, St. John's 2. There's 17 minutes left in the first half there. That's all the games that are going on right now. You got some games tipping off here in about 10 minutes at 8 o'clock. And then you have games starting at 8:30, 9. There's still a lot of college basketball games to be played tonight as all these conference tournaments. So if you're a college basketball fan, there's definitely not a shortage of games on tonight. All right. Yesterday, Aaron Rodgers announced that he's staying with Green Bay. It's been announced that he signed a 4-year extension for $200 million, make him the highest paid player in the NFL. I hear a lot of people saying that the Packers fucked up, that they shouldn't have paid Aaron Rodgers. In my opinion, Green Bay Packers really didn't have a choice. The Green Bay Packers put themselves in a corner last year, or actually 2 years ago. They put themselves in a corner first by drafting Jordan Love, moving up and drafting a quarterback when there was no reason to. Then last year you negotiate with Rodgers and then you give him power that this could be his last year, that he could opt out of a year. But what were you going to do? You missed on the Jordan Love pick. The Jordan Love pick, I haven't heard one comment come out about Jordan Love that has been good. Everything that I've heard about Jordan Love has been bad. I mean, he hasn't even been his rookie year. He was a first round pick and wasn't even good enough to set up. Wasn't even good enough to suit up. Didn't even get to play. Not even play. Wasn't even on the active roster. Not even as a backup. And he was a first round pick. And then when you see him play last year in the preseason, he didn't look good. Footage that we've seen of him out of practices and stuff hasn't looked good. So the Packers was in a corner, and Aaron Rodgers knew it. I still believe that if they wouldn't have redone his deal, that he probably would have just retired. If they didn't trade him somewhere, I think he would have just retired. So I think Rodgers, and I think the Packers knew that Rodgers wasn't afraid to retire if he needed to. They gave him the big deal. I think it was the best thing for the Packers to do. If you get rid of Aaron Rodgers, who's going to be your quarterback? Jordan Love. So I mean, they didn't have a whole lot of options, especially with their salary cap issues. But they sign Rodgers and they get the franchise tag Adams. They're going to lose the Smith brothers on defense. They're going to have to make some good decisions in free agency in the draft. But Aaron Rodgers, point blank, Aaron Rodgers gives the Packers the best chance to win. If they're worried about trying to win right now, that Aaron Rodgers gives them their best chance. Now, if they want to go ahead and blow it up and go into rebuild mode, then I can understand not paying Rodgers and moving on. But where they were at in the salary cap, this wasn't the time to blow it up and move on, especially when you have a guy that's been the MVP of the league 2 years in a row, back-to-back MVP, and you're going to let this guy walk? I mean, yeah, you guys got beat in the playoffs. Didn't end how you wanted to. But it wasn't all Rodgers' fault. Did Rodgers play good in that playoff game? No. Had his worst game of the season. Was too conservative. Didn't play well at all. But it still came down to two special teams plays is what flipped that game. It was two special teams plays flipped that game. A lot of people forget that. It wouldn't. Yeah, Rodgers couldn't drive him down, make that play when they needed to. But, I mean, it wasn't all Rodgers. Does he need to take some of the blame? Yes, but all the people that want to give him all the blame, you're just a casual fan. You're just a casual fan of football and don't watch all the games. I mean, Rodgers, like I said, is a back-to-back MVP. Played great last year. Hasn't seen playoff success. I mean, let's be honest. He only has one Super Bowl. And he's only been to one Super Bowl. You would think with the years they've had and how good Rodgers talent-wise is, that the Green Bay Packers would at least had another Super Bowl win and some more Super Bowl appearances. They haven't been able to get that done. Is that all on Rodgers? No. Is some of it on Rodgers? Yes. Some of it's on Rodgers. Some of it's on the Packers organization and the coaches and they've hired and the players that the GM has brought in. Everybody has to take some blame. But the quarterback's always going to get the most blame. But I think the Packers done the right thing. Though you had to. I know a lot of people. You didn't have to redo his contract. He was under contract. He had to play. He didn't have to play. He could have retired. Then you're losing them. I'd rather try to keep him happy and then maybe be able to trade him if things don't work out. I know they did give him a big contract, so now they got a big. They're invested in them big for at least the next 2 or 3 years. I would say at least 2 years. Maybe after the second, if they don't do nothing this year, next year, maybe they'll move on from in that third year. But with this extension that he reportedly has signed, he's there for at least the next 2 years. Russell Wilson gets traded to the Denver Broncos. This was a surprise. I mean, you've heard rumbles that Russell wanted out of Seattle. You never really heard it come out of Russell's mouth. It was always Team 3. It was always his team. Then you heard Pete Carroll saying they wouldn't trade in Russell Wilson, that he was their quarterback and all this. And then the next day they trade him. The trade didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Why give up on Russell Wilson after one losing season? Why not try to bring in some guys, build around them, and try to make some improvements? But instead of they're kind of deciding to blow up the team. They also got rid of Wagner yesterday, which wasn't a real big surprise. But they trade Russell Westbrook. They get back Drew Lock. So right now, Drew Lock is going to be the starting quarterback of the Seattle Seahawks. Don't make a whole lot of sense to me why you'd get rid of Wilson. The Broncos, but I think Wilson makes the Broncos better. I'm not going to say he makes them automatic Super Bowl contenders, but he definitely makes them playoff contenders and a team that can make a deep run in the playoffs. They have some receivers. They have a decent defense. And now they have Russell Wilson at quarterback. I can see, I think the Broncos are going to they were a fringe playoff team last year, so I definitely think they're a playoff team this year. I'm not going to say he makes some Super Bowl contenders, not until I see them play some, but he definitely makes them a team that can be a threat, a big threat to go deep in the playoffs. I mean, Denver gave up quite a bit to get him, but I mean, a player now helps you more than what some draft picks can a lot of times. So I just kind of understand what Denver was thinking. I just don't understand. I think there had to be a rift or something going on between either Wilson and the front office or Russell Wilson and Pete Carroll. And to me, the way this happened, it kind of makes me feel like the the Seattle ownership chose Pete Carroll over Russell Wilson, and I think that's a mistake. I think it's time for Pete Carroll to move on and go to somewhere else. I think Seattle would have been better off to got a new coach, kept Russell Wilson, build the team around that. I think they would have had more success. Now I think they're going to be in full rebuild mode, and it's going to set your organization back a couple years, 2 to 3 years at least. Where if you would have kept Wilson and made some movements and try to put a little better team around him, you could still be a contender. Tell you what, though, this makes the AFC West stacked, especially quarterback wise. And now you have Russell Wilson, Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, and Derek Carr all in the same division. So Wilson basically went from the toughest division in the NFC to the toughest division in the AFC. So division wise, it didn't get any easier at all for him. Not at all. Actually, I'm not going to say it got tougher. It might have got a little tougher, especially depending on how the Raiders and Chargers no, it'd be a little tougher because Arizona was good, Seattle, the Rams. So yeah, I would say the AFC West is probably a little tougher right now. So he probably moved to probably the toughest division in football. I think Russell Wilson's going to be good in Denver. Like I said, the move did surprise me, just because I didn't think Seattle would trade Russell Wilson. I thought Russell Wilson would be the Seattle quarterback starting this season again. But hey, we'll see what he does in Denver, and we'll see if this move sets Seattle back or if they're able to move on. I would have got rid of Carroll before I got rid of my quarterback. Calvin Ridley gets suspended indefinitely, they're saying for the whole 2022 season for gambling. I guess he was betting on games. When he was away from the team, he was like hurt or whatever, was away from the team. The team was out traveling. He bet on some Atlanta Falcons games. They suspended him for the whole season. I think it was the bets he made totaled like $1,500. Now that's going to cost him over like $10 million now or something like that, because he's going to be missing the whole season on suspension. I think the suspension's a little harsh. I understand why they came down hard on him, because you have to protect the integrity of the game, because if people think the game is rigged or set up, it's going to affect a lot of these big gambling website partners that are now partners with the NFL and stuff. It's going to affect them. So then you're going to lose partnerships. So then you're going to start, NFL is going to lose some of their sponsors, lose money, and fans. Sports betting's big right now, and if people start feeling like the games are set up, you're going to lose a lot of fans, and there's going to be a lot less money going through things, because when you bet on a game, it takes it up to a whole nother level. I mean, it gets you into the game even more. And if you find out that, if you feel like you got fucked, that, hey, I should have won that game, but this guy had bet on that game, so this player done this and this, or this, that turns into a big problem that the NFL don't want. They have to protect the integrity of the game. I understand that. But he was away from the team. He wasn't with the team. If he had been traveling with the team and with the team on it, it'd make it even worse to me. But he was away from the team. I could have saw maybe giving him maybe like a 4-game suspension, 5-game suspension, even 8 I'd have been okay with. But to suspend Ridley for the whole season, I think was a little too much. Like I said, I'd have been okay with 8 games. I think maybe 4 or 5 games. But I also understand that the NFL is trying to send a message to other players that, hey, we can't have this. This is something that would destroy our league if we don't take care of this. We cannot. This is something that can't happen. So I know why they came down so harsh on him. I just would like to see maybe 8 games instead of a whole season for Calvin Ridley. And I'm interested in seeing where he ends up after this. Like, where does he end up next season after he does his suspension? It'd be nice to see. And then you have the Indianapolis Colts. This is one don't make no sense to me. I'm a big Colts fan. Does not make no sense to me. Colts trade Carson Wentz to the Washington Commanders. Colts get 2 third-round picks and a second-round pick. One of the third-round picks can turn into a second-round pick depending on Wentz's playing time next year. This move didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. There's not many quarterbacks out there right now that the Colts are going to be able to get that are better than Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz had a good season last year. Did it end well? No. Did he play bad the last 2 games of the season? Damn right he did. But it wasn't all him. Our offensive line didn't block what the fuck the last 2 games. Our defense didn't play very well. Some of the coaching decisions wasn't great. So it wasn't all on Carson Wentz that the Colts fell apart them last 2 games of the season and missed the playoffs. If you look at Wentz's numbers, he had like 27 touchdowns, 28 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, threw for almost 5,000 yards. He had a good season. A lot better season than what he had the year before. Well, it don't make no sense to me. To me, you're the Colts. You give him this 2 or 3 year deal, whatever you gave him. You owe him $28 million this year. He comes in, plays 1 year, and looked better than what he did when he left Philly. You fall short of the playoffs, yes, and then you give up on him. Why give up on him after 1 year? Why not build around him, get a better receiving core around him? That's where the Colts are lacking right now, is weapons on the outside. You fix that, and you run it back this year with Wentz, and then if you don't like what you see this year, move on. I don't understand why. Who are they going to get that's better? There's only 2 guys out there that are available. Garoppolo, I would take Garoppolo, even though I don't know how much better he is than Wentz. And then they're talking about maybe Derek Carr. I'd be all right with that now that they've already got rid of Wentz. But this was a baffling move to me by the Colts. Wentz wasn't terrible last year. He wasn't the problem. Was he part of the problem? He was part of the problem some, but big problem was we didn't have weapons on the outside, and then our offensive line let us down the last couple games of the year. They're saying the Colts are looking at Trubisky, Winston, Carr, and Garoppolo. I've heard Garoppolo might be going to Pittsburgh or I forget, maybe Carolina. I read. I don't see why the Raiders would get rid of Carr. So I think Winston and Trubisky are probably going to be the best 2 options that the Colts are going to have. Winston was playing good last year before he got hurt, but I think New Orleans is going to stay with Winston unless New Orleans was to get Garoppolo, which I think his name was in there as well. Trubisky, I think Trubisky could be good in the right system. I think he got kind of a bad name because his offensive coordinator, Matt Nagy, was a dumbass, or not only offensive coordinator, head coach. He got stuck under Matt Nagy and just never was believed in. He never got his shot where you felt like, hey, the Bears actually believing Trubisky and are giving him his best chance. They're going all in, giving him his best chance to succeed. And you didn't see that. So I guess Trubisky could be an option, but I still don't. I think they're going to end up with. I've heard Mariota. I think they're going to end up with an option that is worse than what they had. Sometimes the grass isn't greener on the other side, and you think you need to get rid of Wentz, and you get rid of him, and now you're going to get stuck with something less or be a lateral move. I don't know if it's going to be like a move in the right direction for the Colts. What we're going to do, get rid of Wentz to get a bridge guy? If you're wanting the bridge guy, keep Wentz for another year and see what happens. More will come out about it, but it just don't make a whole lot of sense to me. Washington, I think it's a great move for Washington. You gave up 2 third-round picks and a second-round pick. And, I think it's a good move from Washington because if they have a quarterback that comes in there and plays decent, plays good with the defense that they can have, they can be a decent team, especially there in the East. You bring Wentz back to the East, where he'll play his former team, the Eagles, twice a year. But he was winning the East some with Philadelphia. I think this is a good move. I like the coaching staff there in Washington with Ron Rivera. So I think this was a good move for the Washington Commanders. I just think the Colts got too trigger happy and got rid of Wentz too soon, and now I'm afraid they're going to end up with something less. If they're lucky, it might turn into a lateral move, but to me, it's looking like it's going to turn into a setback move, that you're going backwards here. You're going to take a step backwards to try to get better, and I just didn't think it was time to do that. Wentz wasn't the problem. He wasn't the whole problem. Was he part of the problem? Yes, but he wasn't the whole problem. He did not play terrible. He had 28 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. He played good last year, other than the last 2 of the games of the season. Yes, he got beat by Jacksonville when we needed to win that game for the playoffs, and he did not play good at all. But if you watch that game, the offensive line didn't play good at all. Play calling was suspect. A lot of things went into that. Yes, Carson Wentz played a part in that, but he wasn't the only problem. So, like I said, we'll see what happens here in the next couple of days. I think the Colts might have made a big mistake here. I hope not. Like I said, I'm a diehard Colts fan, and whoever they get, I'm going to be behind and be watching all the games and hoping that the Colts can win. But if they don't, I hope they get Garoppolo or Carr. But if they move back, it's going to suck, because I think if they gave Wentz another year, Wentz would have played even better this year than last year. I think the Colts just got a little trigger happy and moved on a little too soon. Major League Baseball announced that they've removed 2 more series so far. So now opening day would be April 14th. Baseball don't decide something soon. They're going to be in jeopardy of losing a lot of the season. And if they lose over half the season or the whole season, it could kill Major League Baseball. I mean, but they barely survived the last strike they had. Now they just canceled 2 more series this year. They're just going to keep pushing it back until there ain't hardly no season left. The players are standing strong this time. This will be one of the few times that we've seen in baseball that the Major League Baseball Players Association, that the players have stood together. A lot of times you get the players that don't make as much money, and then they give in, and everybody so then they don't get what they want. This time it looks like the players have said, fuck this, we're standing for what we think we deserve. Hopefully they'll get something figured out. I guess they have made a little bit of progress from what I'm hearing, and they're continuing to meet. But as of now, the MLB regular season has been pushed back for opening day of April 14th. So we've lost 2 more series. Hopefully they get this figured out quick, because each few days that this goes on, that's more game series we're going to lose for this season. And we need to get to spring training and get the season started. I don't know about you guys, but I'm ready for some baseball. Ready to go watch the Cincinnati Reds play. So it'd be nice for baseball to get back going. Hopefully they get that going. If they missed the whole season, though, I think it could go a long way into killing baseball. Like I said, it took them a long time to recover from that strike. And recovering from the strike, actually, the reason they recovered from that was because of the steroid era, when Bonds and McGuire was having the home run battle. What's going to bring them back from this strike? Are you going to bring back steroids and try to get another big home run competition going to try to get people involved, get people back into it? I think Major League Baseball is losing the faith of a lot of the Major League Baseball fans if you go to another strike, because the fans feel like they're getting slighted because they're not getting to see the guys that they like watch them play one of the best games in the world, because you got 2 sides that can't figure out some money issues. And I'm not saying it's on the players. I think it's more on the owners than it is the players. I'm glad to see that the players are finally banding together like you've seen in some of the other leagues, but you've never really seen in baseball. So that's nice to see. So, but hopefully they get that figured out soon, and we can get back to some baseball. But all right, before we get out of here, I'll give you guys my NBA picks that I gave out today on Easy Money, a sports betting show. I had the Celtics at -7.5, Chicago Bulls -5.5, Milwaukee Bucks -4.5, Miami Heat -4, Toronto Raptors money line, and the Denver Nuggets -6.5. And in college basketball, I had Penn State money line over Minnesota, DePaul and St. John's over 155, and Marquette -2.5 over Creighton. All right. I want to thank everybody that joined us tonight. Don't forget, we're live Monday through Friday, 1 p.m. Eastern, with Easy Money, a sports betting show. That show's live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. We're also live Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern with G.S.R. Gonzo'S Sports Room. That show's also live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. You can also find both them shows, G.S.R. and Easy Money, a sports betting show, in podcast form, Apple Podcast, Anchor Podcast, Spotify, Google. You listen to podcasts, you can find us. We also have a new pro wrestling podcast, GWR Gonzo'S Wrestling Room. New episodes of it drop every Sunday at 9 a.m. Eastern. You can find it at Gonzo'S Wrestling Room on Apple Podcasts, Anchor Podcasts, Spotify, most major podcast platforms. You can find it. You can also find the video version on YouTube at Gonzo'S Sports Room if you'd like to watch the video version of GWR Gonzo'S Wrestling Room. Also on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all at Gonzo'S Sports Room. That's where we post all the information about our shows. Excuse me. Whether it's our daily picks for Easy Money, a sports betting show, the interview announcements, to any show announcement goes to our social media: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all at Gonzo'S Sports Room. Check out our YouTube page. Please hit that subscribe button at Gonzo'S Sports Room. If you're watching on Facebook or Twitch, please hit that like and follow button. We greatly appreciate it. Check out our merch store, streamlabs.com/GonzalezSports/merch. We have t-shirts, hats, hoodies, a lot of different things available on there. You can see some of the t-shirts here behind me. Go check it out. Get you some GWR, G.S.R, or Easy Money gear today. Also, we will have some GWR shirts on hand here real soon, probably within the next week. We'll have some new GWR t-shirts that I'll have on hand. If you are interested in one of them, get a hold of me, and I'll make sure you get one. Well, thank everybody for joining us tonight. Hope everybody's having a good night. We will be back tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern with Easy Money, a sports betting show. Thanks for joining us. Be safe. Peace.